So today we are going to be discussing a very nice chapter from Srimad Bhagavatam. So after reading this chapter, I felt very happy because this was looking very nice. I mean, today's chapter is so wonderful. So just like how Srila Prabhupada says, Srimad Bhagavatam is like a gulab jamun or a rasgulla. You can eat it, you can bite it from anywhere and then you'll get the taste of it. So anyways, Hare Krishna devotees, thank you very much for joining us today. We are going to be hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 4, chapter number 26. King Puranjana goes to the forest to hunt and his queen becomes angry. Okay. So let us start with the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhamam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Harihi Om Tatsat Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna devotees. So today we are going to be discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, chapter number 26. The name of the chapter is King Puranjana goes to the forest to hunt and his queen becomes angry. So Srila Prabhupada actually explains that Bhagavatam, the purpose of Bhagavatam is to cut through all the cheating types of religion and teach us our eternal duty. Our eternal duty is to do devotional service to Krishna. And these chapters spoken by Narada Muni to Prachina Barhisan are allegories meant to show how the soul, when covered by material body and influenced by the three modes of material nature, becomes entangled in the sinful activities in the name of enjoyment and sometimes even in the name of religion. You see, devotees, sometimes in the name of religion also people commit sinful activities. So we will understand that clearly today. So here King Puranjana represents the conditioned soul, and whatever he is going to be doing is kind of an allegory. Okay. So, and his chariot, his weapons, hunting, all of this symbolize our own body, senses, mind, and false ego. So, just as King Puranjana, out of pride and passion, he is neglecting his queen and going to hunt. Okay. Similarly, conditioned soul also neglects the real dharma which is laid out by Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita and the Vedas and runs into the forest of sense enjoyment. So Srila Prabhupada emphasizes again and again, especially in this chapter, that animal killing, unrestricted sexual activities, intoxication and gambling are the pillars of sinful life. So even if somebody does these things in the name of religion, they are still under the modes of passion and ignorance. So what we understand from today's classes, what is real religion? Real religion is not about animal sacrifice or it's not about sense indulgence. Real religion is about surrender to Krishna. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 18.66, what is dharma? The real dharma is sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. To give up all kinds of religious dharmic activities which are in the modes of goodness, passion and ignorance, particularly in the modes of passion and ignorance. So the so-called religious activities also we have to give up and we should completely surrender to Krishna and become Krishna conscious, for that is the real religion of the soul. So therefore, as we hear these verses today, let us remember that this Bhagavatam is not a story. It's not a story. Okay, it's a powerful lesson. It's a direct instruction for us. Okay, so the question is, are we controlling our chariot by following Guru, Sadhus, and Shastra, or are we following what Puranjana is doing? Are we simply getting dragged by the horses and senses into the forest of illusion? So, this is the choice that we have before us, and Bhagavatam is guiding us to choose the right path. That is the path of pure devotional service. So, let us start, devotees. Today's very powerful chapter, very interesting chapter as well. Okay, so let us begin. Hope you're able to see my screen. Chapter number 26. King Puranjana goes to the forest hunt and his queen becomes angry. Okay. Text 1 to 3. Narada Uvacha Saye Kada Maheshvaso Ratam Panchasvam Asugam Dvisham Dvichakram Ekaksham Trivenum Pancha Bandhuram Ekarapsmyam Ekadamanam Ekanidam Dvikobaram Pancha Praharanam Saptavarutam Pancha Vikramam Haimopaskaram Arukya Swarnavarma Kshaye Ekadasha Chamunata Panchaprashtam Agadvanam. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The great sage Narada continued, my dear king, once upon a time, King Puranjana took up his great bow and equipped with his golden armor and a quiver of unlimited arrows and accompanied by 11 commanders. He sat on the chariot driven by 5 swift horses and went to the forest named Panchaprastha. He took with him in that chariot 2 explosive arrows. The chariot itself was situated on the 2 wheels and 1 revolving axle. On the chariot were 3 flags, 1 rein, 1 chariot driver, 1 sitting place, 2 poles to which harness was fixed, 5 weapons and 7 coverings. The chariot moved in 5 different styles and 5 obstacles lay before it. All the decorations of the chariot were made of gold. So this is called an allegory. Allegory means there's a story that's being said, but behind the story there is another layer of instructions. There is a layer of instructions which will be unveiled by the Acharya. So that will be coming out of the commentary. So this is a beautiful purport by Srila Prabhupada. So in this purport I'll be taking out the important points and I'll be explaining you. So this purport will constitute of all the explanations by the Acharyas. I mean, how do we understand this story? So when we read this, all we can see is the story. Okay, the story is this. We have Puranjana. Puranjana, he got married to Puranjani, and he was always with his wife. Okay, and then but one day he felt like just going to hunt. Okay, so he just left his wife and he set out for hunting. Okay, so what does all of this mean? So there's a detailed explanation about his you can see here different kinds of the chariot that he has 5 horses, and there's a name of the forest, it's called Panchaprashta. Is there any deeper meaning for that? So they said that 2 explosive arrows. What are these arrows and how do we connect it back? 3 flags. What are these 3 flags? Right? 2 poles, 5 weapons, 7 coverings. Right? So something very interesting. We will see 5 obstacles. All of this. All right. So this is how it is. So this verse explains how the material body of the living entity is actually under the control of the 3 modes of material nature. So when we said here that Puranjana is going in a chariot, so I'm sure you would have guessed, chariot is the material body. So the chariot that he is on is the material body, and the driver or the owner of this chariot is the Dehi or the soul, right? So the owner is the soul, driver is Paramatma. because he is always present as the overseer and permitter, right? And then, so what is happening is the three flags are the three gunas. So that is mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance, right? So why do you need a flag? Is by the flag you know which direction the chariot is going to be moving. So by flag we understand which direction it is going. It's like some kind of three signals, right? Red and green and orange, something like that. So this Puranjana has set out to the forest for hunting. So what do you think, which flag is appropriate for him? Is it mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance?
Passion.
It's actually mode of ignorance, more worse than that. At least in the mode of passion, one does some kind of religious activities, external religious activities. But here he has set out for violence. So that's why it's mode of ignorance. Okay, so then one interesting thing is, you see, we are comparing here. Here the comparison between the chariot is with the body. So how can you compare a dead thing? It's actually a chariot. How are you comparing a dead thing with a body? Well, actually, our human body itself is like that. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yantra Rudhani Mayaya. That he is comparing our body with a yantra. Yantra means it is a machine. Our body itself is a machine. So inside that, the soul is there. So this, and here it is being also said that there are 5 horses. This is easy to guess. What are these 5 horses?
Knowledge
The five
acquiring
senses.
senses.
The 5
The five
senses.
senses.
The 5 senses are the 5 horses. Now this is interesting. Two arrows are coming from the ahankara. So from my false ego, there are 2 things that come. One is me and mine. So one is called ahanta, one is called mamata. Ahanta means I am this body, or this body is mine. Not even this body is mine. I am this body is ahanta. And everything in connection with this body is mine. This is mamata. So these are the 2 explosive arrows now he is going to use in his hunting, right? And then there are 2 wheels in this chariot. See, this is so interesting. There are 2 wheels in the chariot. These 2 wheels are pious and impious activities. Doesn't matter whether it is a pious activity or impious activity, it binds the soul and keeps the soul within the material world. It keeps the soul in bondage. And then also it was described here that the chariot had 7 coverings. So what are these 7 coverings? So 7 coverings are skin, muscle, fat, blood, marrow, bone, and semen. So it is called Mamsa, Asti, Shukra. Like that, there are Sapta Dhatu, okay, which is explained in the Ayurveda. So these are the 7 coverings our body has. Our body has skin, it has got nerves, okay, there's blood inside, isn't it? There's flesh. So all of these are the 7 coverings that are the bodies. So like that of the chariot. And then it is said there are 5 kinds of obstacles for this chariot. So 5 kinds of obstacles. What are the 5 kinds of obstacles? Are the Pancha Prana. 5 airs that we have. Prana, Apana, Udana, Samana and Vyana. And then it is said that there are 11 commanders who are helping him out. So what are these 11 commanders who are accompanying Puranjana are? This is also easy to guess. The 10 senses with the mind. So totally we have 5 senses which are called Jnanendriya, which we spoke about, which are like, which are like eyes, ears, nose, tongue, touch, skin, all of this. And we have 5 Karmendriya, which are like, 2 hands, 2 legs, and mouth and genitals. So these are the 5 Karmendriya. And it is said that he is going to a forest called Panchaprashta. So what is this forest? Very interesting. Panchaprashta means 5 sense objects. Each of the senses has a corresponding sense object. Our eyes have a corresponding sense object of form. Our ears have a corresponding sense object sound. Our skin has a corresponding sense object touch. And similarly, we have smell and we have form. So we have sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. So now Puranjana is in a full passion. He wants to go to this Panchaprastha, and he wants to use these explosive arrows and kill the animals. So that means now here is a living entity leaving dharma. Here wife is the wife in the allegory is dharma. So just like how if we leave out dharma and enter into the sense gratification, if we enter into the field of sense gratification, leaving out the eternal religious instructions, the good instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for enjoying these five senses objects, to enjoy very nice sound, very nice touch, very nice form, very nice taste, very nice smell. All of this is so nice, but the problem is this is not good. This is not good. So, and the golden ornaments that he's wearing are the rajoguna, are the passion, the wealth and desire. So the point is this Narada Muni is actually telling this story to Prachina Barhishit. And he is actually telling to Prachina Barhishit that you are in the mode of Tamoguna. So he doesn't want to say that directly. He's telling it through the help of the story. So you're saying even though you are very nicely doing karmakanda activities, you are very extraordinarily religious. Prachina Barhishit was addicted to this karmakanda. He was doing so many religious activities, doing fire sacrifices, killing all of these animals in the altar like that. As per the Vedic instructions, whatever is given in the Vedic karmakanda, he's doing it. It appears to be externally very religious, but Narada is coming and kind of, shaking his very thought process and saying that, you be ready to go to hell. What you are doing in the names of karmakanda, this is just some kind of a religion which is in some kind of mode of passion and ignorance. So you need to transcend it to the devotional religion. So the religion of devotion or the religion of Krishna consciousness is all about completely surrendering to Krishna. So this is a different kind of religion. This is transcendental religion. The purpose of this religion or this dharma or the Bhagavata dharma is to surrender to Krishna and to aim to go back to home, back to Godhead. So therefore, even this kind of external religion, the process of karma kanda where people are performing various sacrifices given in the Vedas, doing animal killing of sacrifices, all of this, it's enjoined in the Vedas, it's given, but still, whatever it may be, killing animals is in the mode of ignorance. So even if one may be completely religious, animal killing is recommended. We can see that in the Vedas, animal killing is there, and even in the modern scriptures also, there are so many other religions also which do animal killing in the name of religion. Correct? But the point is this, that we have to give up this kind of base mentality to, cause violence towards any kind of a living entity and reflect upon what is the most important duty that I am supposed to be doing. The most important duty is we should be surrendering ourselves to Krishna. Okay. So let's go to the next verse. Okay. Chachara mrugayam tatra dripa ateshu karmukaha vihaya jayam atat arham mrugavyasana lalasaha. It was almost impossible for King Puranjana to give up the company of his queen even for a moment. Nonetheless, on that day, being very much aspired by the desire to hunt, he took up his bow and arrow with great pride and went to the forest, not caring for his wife. So, this Puranjana, we saw in the previous class also, he was very much attached to his wife. If his wife smiled, he used to smile. If his wife slept, he used to sleep. If his wife was upset, he used to be upset. He used to be always with his wife. But today, somehow he's so much inspired by desire to hunt. He wants to go and hunt now. So he's taking up his bow and arrow, and his great pride, and he's not caring for his wife. He did not even tell to his wife that I'm going, and he just left to the forest, and then he went for hunting. So let us try to understand this verse, the deeper aspects of this verse. So what we have to understand from this, that the king could not leave his wife, is that it is about, the allegory is, wife is like, I mean, it's an allegorically in this story, not generally. So here Puranjana's wife is representing dharma, a religious duty. But here Puranjana has left her. That means a living entity who is affected by mode of passion abandons dharma. So the moment a living entity is affected by passion, in that passion, it is said in Bhagavad Gita also, person commits sinful activities in the mode of passion. So once a person comes to the mode of passion, he does not know what he is doing, and he is forcibly taken to perform some kind of sinful activities. So, and then it is also said here, Srila Prabhupada is saying the different kinds of hunting, and there is another kind of hunting called as woman hunting. So conditioned soul is never satisfied with even one wife also. So just like how a conditioned soul is not satisfied with one wife and is trying to hunt for women, similarly a living entity which are uncontrolled senses, right, it also tries to hunt for so much of sense gratification. So King Puranjana here is abandoning the company of his religiously married wife, right? Actually it is said that wife should have come, he could have taken his wife, but he left his wife. Why? Because he was completely affected by this mode of passion, right? So it is the pride and passion, because of pride and passion he left his wife. So he said there is a bow and arrow which he took, right? So what is this bow? What is this arrow, right? I'll ask you towards the end, okay, all these things, a lot of technical details. So what is a bow and arrow? The bow and arrow are attachment and hatred. So a living entity has got a bow and arrow, they are attachment and hatred. So by taking this attachment and hatred, a living entity gives up the religious principles given by the Vedas, gives up the instructions given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and goes out for hunting. That means goes out in the field of material sense gratification. And when he is going, he does not even realize that, okay, I'm going away from the instructions from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I'm going away from, the religious duties, does not realize that. And then let us see what will happen next. What is the consequence of this? Let's go through this. Okay, let's go to the next verse. Asurim vrittim asritya ghoratma niranugraha nyahanan nishitair banair vaneshu vanagocharan. At that time, King Puranjana was very much influenced by the demoniac propensities. Because of this, his heart became very hard and merciless, and with sharp arrows, he killed many innocent animals in the forest, taking no consideration. Just see, Puranjana, he's got, see, if you have to go for hunting, see, you have to become very merciless, isn't it? So Puranjana became very merciless here, right? Because you see, in the Valmiki Ramayana, it is said, the beginning of Valmiki Ramayana was that there were two crowncha birds. There were two birds, and which were like the couple birds. And there's a hunter, okay, who is aiming at these birds, and Valmiki is looking at these birds. And then the hunter mercilessly kills one of these birds, and the bird is dead, and the other bird is like feeling very sad about it, that his partner is dead, her partner is dead. So when Valmiki saw that, he was so moved by it, he was so moved by compassion, that immediately a curse came out of his mouth, and that curse itself became the first verse of Ramayana. Therefore, from shoka comes shloka. So it was a shoka. So when religious people, when pure devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when they see this violence, the shoka comes out of them. The lamentation, they feel so bad for this violence. So the thing is, this is called as the himsa. So Puranjana has become Asuri now, that is demoniac. So he's become completely merciless and cruel hearted. So today, if we see, our society is this Asuri. Our society is demoniac. Why? Because they are maintaining slaughterhouses. You can see that in every street there may not be a temple, but definitely there will be a slaughterhouse. Is it not? So in that slaughterhouse, when we are walking by, we can hear the painful cries of those helpless animals which are getting killed by these slaughterers. So the demoniac society is maintaining these kind of slaughterhouses, and even worse than this is that in the West and in China also they have modern mechanized slaughterhouses. So that is not only, it's not even human beings who will do it. They will create some machine lines, and all the animals will be taken in that machine line, and they will be complete. They'll be butchered, and they'll be dressed, and they'll be packed. Everything by complete machines, which are capable of doing slaughter at a massive scale. See, this is what is happening. See, why do you think the wars are happening in the world? See, these wars that are happening in the world every 5 to 10 years are nothing but the karmic reaction. You see, when wars happen, we see that so many people die, and so many soldiers also, they're captured by the enemies, and they're tortured in the concentration camps. So why is this kind of cruelty happening? We can see all over the world so many wars are happening. So these are the reactions that are brought about by unrestricted animal killing in the slaughterhouses and by the hunters in the forest. So even during the COVID time also, what was the reason why we got this kind of pandemics, epidemics, different kinds of diseases? They're coming because we are killing some helpless poor animals. Actually, I'll tell you one story. One day, King Parikshit was going, and he saw that there was a black man who was Kalipurusha, who was continuously beating a bull and a cow. This bull was Dharma, which was only having 1 feet, and there was a cow which was weeping, which was the Mother Earth, by looking at the position of that bull. So immediately Parikshit Maharaj, he took up his bow and arrow, and he said, I'm going to kill you now. Because he says something interesting. If anybody abuses, if anybody kills, or if anybody tortures any living, helpless living entity uh, in seclusion, such a person, the only punishment is death. So there a bull was being beaten, and Parikshit Maharaj is ready to kill this black man, that is Kalipurusha. But what we have to understand is, then what about all the helpless living entities that are being killed in the slaughterhouses? Then what is the punishment that should be given for the slaughterers of these helpless living entities which have no voice at all? You see, if there is some kind of violence that happens to human beings, they can go to the NGOs, they can go to the courts, they can go out and give a public interview, they can put it on social media. But what about these animals? They are helpless, completely helpless. They can't even speak. They can't speak for themselves. They don't have anybody to speak for them. And all they can do is they are maintained by these people. So they just surrender to their fate. Right? So this is the influence of Kali Yuga, that we are maintaining indiscriminately slaughterhouses. So many slaughterhouses. Every street we have slaughterhouses now. At least in India we have some kind of manual slaughterhouses, and in the West they are maintaining some kind of machinerized slaughterhouses where they are killing cows, where they are killing different kinds of animals, pigs, cows, and all the animals, indiscriminately. This is nothing but a torture for these living entities, right? So Krishna consciousness movement completely forbids animal killing. Okay, there is no admission to Krishna consciousness without following these four regulative principles. That is why Krishna conscious religion is a transcendental religion. This is not a kind of a so called religion. So it is said in the Bhagavatam, Dharma prochita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam param. This religion of Krishna consciousness is for the nirmatsara, the non envious people. See, typical what happens is every living entity is envious. So that is, we may have envy towards those weaker animals which do not have more power than us, and towards enviousness towards those animals, these the society may slaughter and kill them. But this Krishna consciousness or the Bhagavata Dharma is for the non-envious, nirmatsaranam satam, and it is a transcendental religion. It is a religion given by Krishna himself. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. So what it basically means, it is not simply enough for us to say I am a Hindu, okay? Because Hindu can mean so many things. Hindu can also mean all the religious activities which are mentioned in the Vedas, which are in the mode of passion and ignorance. So, but the real purpose of the Vedas is to transcend people to the mode of pure goodness. That is to actually come to the religion of Krishna consciousness, which is called as a Bhagavata Dharma. Bhagavata Dharma is the real religion. So therefore, one has to follow these four regulative principles of Krishna consciousness to avoid sinful activities and to be following and to be aligned with the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And those four regulative principles are no animal killing, no intoxication, no illicit sex life, and no gambling. Because it is said that these are the sinful activities of Kali Yuga. Okay, by doing these sinful activities, the Kali is only going to increase its influence. Okay, so therefore we should be avoiding this one. Okay, let's go to the next one. Verse number 6. Tirteshu pratidrishteshu Rajamedyan pashun vane yavadartam alam lupto hanyat iti niyam yate. If a king is too attracted to eating flesh, he may, according to the directions of some revealed scriptures, on sacrificial performances, go to the forest and kill some animals that are recommended for killing. One is not allowed to kill animals unnecessarily or without restrictions. The Vedas regulate animal killing to stop the extravagance of foolish men influenced by the mode of passion and ignorance. So let us see this. So what is being said here is that here Puranjana is going out on hunting, right? So Puranjana going out on hunting, it is actually given in the Vedas. The Vedas are giving us some kind of regulations. The purpose of a scripture is to regulate. So it is said that those people who want to eat meat, they can eat so, but only by giving a sacrifice of that meat to goddess Kali. Similarly, those people who want to have a sex life, they can have it only in marriage. And those people who want to have some kind of intoxication, also there is some kind of a regulation that there is during the fire sacrifice they give some kind of intoxication or something like that. So everything is regulated. The purpose is regulation. You see, it is like this. If there is, let us say, for example, let us say if you're maintaining maybe a hostel or college where you have so many students who are coming to prepare for something very serious or very difficult exam like the IAS exam or the IIT JEE, etc. Okay, so what you do is you tell them rules that there's no scope of having fun here. This is very strict life. We want you to study all the time. But then because there is so much of opposition from the students who say that no, we need to enjoy, we need some kind of enjoyment. So therefore, the college sometimes arranges a bus to go to the city and to bring them back. So the purpose why college is arranging the bus to take them, to take them for some to the city and bring them back, is not to encourage them to go to the city and just have fun and forget the studies. Is it not? The purpose is to actually help them, so that if there is no bus, they would go anytime and come anytime, and it will be much more worst. There would be no kind of any regulation. So the purpose of regulation is for upliftment. It is not for indulgence. So therefore the word says regulate. So what is a regulator? What does a regulator do? It actually increases or decreases. Just like, for example, there is a flood of water. Okay, when you put a dam, what happens when you put a dam? Okay, then what happens is you control the flow. Then you can decide how much flow can be going. So you can either reduce the flow, increase the flow, and then you can convert that energy into electricity also. Therefore, anything like that needs to be regulated. So just like that force of that water which is coming, similarly, every living entity has got an urge for sense gratification. And this urge, if there is no kind of arrangement to stop this, the living entity will go unrestrictedly trying to enjoy the sense gratification. So what is happening is, today it is said, Prabhupada is writing in his purport that today, at the present moment, this argument is put even forward by the so-called Swamis and Yogis, who are publicly saying that we have senses and we must satisfy them by sense gratification. And Prabhupada is writing, these foolish Swamis and Yogis, however, do not know the injunctions of the Shastras. And indeed, sometimes these rascals come out to defy the Shastras. They even publicly announce that there should be no more Shastras, no more books, just come to me. You see, there are some Swamis and Yogis, I'm sure there must be even today, this at the time of Srila Prabhupada, is saying that there are some Swamis, so-called Swamis, who are saying there are no rules and regulations. You can come and join us. We will purify you. I will simply touch you. That's it. And you will become immediately advanced. There's no need for you to follow any rules of the Shastras. The Shastras, you just give up these Shastras. There's no need of all of these books. Right? So this is the thing. The problem of the Kali Yuga is people, demoniac people, want to be cheated. So as long as the people want to be cheated, there will be many cheaters. And therefore, in the Kali Yuga, entire human society has become an assembly of cheaters and cheated. So there are some set of people who want to get cheated, and there's some set of people who want to cheat, right? So it is like this, right? Simple. See, we all understand the economics of, how expensive cow products and cow milk is. See, original cow milk which is coming from Indian varieties is so expensive, and the ghee which is taken out of this cow's milk is definitely very expensive. It cannot be anything less than 2000 rupees or 1600, at least 1800 rupees per liter or per kilogram. But then we still want cow ghee for the rate of 500, because that is my requirement. I mean, I am like, just cheat me. I don't know, I cannot buy it, I will not buy it. Just cheat me. Just say that this is cow ghee. So therefore one cheater will come and say this is 100% pure ghee. That is a cheating. But even the cheater knows and the cheated, both of them know that this is not the real ghee. Right? Just like paneer also, these days there is so much of adulteration. So everybody wants to eat paneer, but do not want to pay the actual price of paneer. So therefore the cheaters and the cheated, both of them are getting a nice deal. The cheaters will get cheated with the help of some kind of an artificial milk which they will prepare with the help of detergent, and the cheated will happily take it and eat that, because he doesn't want to pay the price for something which is original, which is correct. So this is our position. For anything important, there is a price that we have to pay for it. Without paying the price for it, if we fall short, if I say that something which is worth 5,000 rupees, if I say I will give only 1,000 rupees, but I still want the value of 5,000, then immediately comes the possibility of getting cheated. So our religious principles also have become like this, that where we want to get the value of going back to Godhead, we want to get the love of Krishna, But at the same time, we do not want to give up the four regulative principles. Then therefore, these cheater swamis will come, the cheater yogis will come, and they will very nicely say that you don't have to do anything. Okay, just come to me and I will teach you some mantra and just practice. And then the cheated becomes so happy, they become so blessed, and they think that, oh, we have got a very nice religious life now. Now we are all going to go back to Godhead by following this Swami. Something like that. So we have to give up this kind of cheap processes, and we should actually give value to what is supposed to be done, and we should follow the Shastras. So that is the aim of this chapter. Let us see some more things. Let's go to the next one. Text number 7. Ya evam karma niyatam vidvan kurvita manavaha karmana tena rajendra jnanena nasa lipyate. Narada Muni continued to speak to King Prachina Barhishat. My dear king, any person who works according to the direction of Vedic scriptures does not become involved in fruitive activities. See, the main point here is Narada Muni is giving instructions to King Prachina Barhishat with the help of this story, the story of Puranjana and Puranjani. How Puranjana got attracted to this Navadvara Puri. Navadvara Puri means there are city of 9 gates. So there are 9 gates in this city. There are 7 gates above and 2 gates below. That is actually representing, the 7 gates above are, our eyes, our ears, nose, the 2 nostrils, the mouth. They are the 7 gates. And the 2 gates are below of this Navadvara Puri, that is the genitals. So like that, there is some kind of a allegorical story that Narada Muni is explaining. And here is actually commenting about this Puranjana going out for doing hunting. So he is going out for hunting, right? So what we have to understand is that we have to act according to Shastra. So it is said, Yajnartat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. Krishna says that we have to act according to the yajna as a sacrifice to Vishnu. We have to do every activity as a sacrifice to Vishnu. So otherwise there is going to be bondage. Actions performed as a sacrifice for Vishnu, they do not have any bondage. So these Vedic injunctions are like government licenses. You see, sometimes there is even a license. Sometimes government also gives license for having a gun also. Government also issues license for selling intoxicants also, right? The purpose is to regulate. The purpose is not to indulge people into it. And the purpose why government is issuing licenses for guns and weapons is that, so that it has a count of how many guns are there, weapons are there. Otherwise, if there is no kind of any license, people will indiscriminately buy it. And there will be so much of unnecessary violence. So what we have to understand is Vedic injunctions are given for us to regulate our sense enjoyment. See, the Vedas acknowledge and understand that every living entity wants to have unrestricted sense enjoyment. It is said in the Bhagavatam that, if you actually leave a person without any Vedic injunctions, he wants to have unlimited meat eating, unlimited intoxication, unlimited illicit sex, and unlimited gambling. This is what every living entity wants to do. But what happens in the name of the Vedic religion, in the name of the religious principles, by the direction of the scriptures, people become regulated so that they don't unrestrictedly, indulge themselves in these sense gratification activities, and then they completely fall away from the path of dharma, that is the path of knowledge. The purpose is to get knowledge, because when you get knowledge, there is liberation. So therefore, everybody is supposed to be acting as per the Vedic injunctions, and it should not be acting irresponsibly. So it is said a person, acting according to the laws and licenses given by the government, he doesn't become a criminal. So for example, if a person, let us say, is manufacturing some weapons, if he has got a license to create these weapons, No, the government is like okay with that. Okay, it's in a regulated way. It's not a criminal activity. But if somebody is doing it without a license, somebody is trading without a license, so then it becomes a problem. Then it becomes some kind of a cheating, right? If somebody is doing business and paying the taxes, then there is no problem. But if somebody is doing business without paying the taxes, it becomes money laundering. It becomes black money, right? So similarly, like that, just like how we have black money and white money, so white money is the money which is accounted to the government. Similarly, there are some activities which are allowed in the Vedas, and there are activities which are not allowed in the Vedas. So we have to act as per the Vedas. And even among those activities which are given in the Vedas, we should understand that there are some things which may be sanctioned, which is only meant for our purification, or which is it's actually meant for our regulation. It is not that it is giving an unlimited license for us to do those kind of sense gratification activities. See, for example, even there may be so many laws which allow us to perform some unethical activities. So despite of the law allowing us to do some unethical activities, we still understand that the purpose of the law, or the purpose of the person who prepared this law, is not to encourage immoral activities, but it was only to give some kind of a freedom. That's it, with a thought process that people will carefully use their freedom. So similarly, this Vedic knowledge is actually very perfect. Okay, this is received from God by parampara. It is said, dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranito. This dharma or religious principles is coming from Krishna himself. It is coming in the parampara. This Bhagavata dharma is so perfect, and it is coming from the Adi Kavi, that is Lord Brahma. Right? It is coming from Lord Brahma. It is said, Tene Brahma Hrida Adi Kavaye Mukhyandi Yasuraiha. And this Brahma gave the knowledge to Narada. Narada gave it to Vyasa. Like this Vedic knowledge is perfect knowledge. So this Vedic religion is a perfect religion for human beings. So if we act according to the Vedic knowledge, there is no question of being involved in the sinful activities. So let us see what happens if we give up sinful activities. Okay, the reason why Narada is talking about this right now is Puranjana has left his wife for hunting. So similarly, we are talking about a living entity who has given up Krishna consciousness for the sake of sense gratification, and in the name of religion, or maybe not in the name of religion, performing sense gratificatory activities. Such a person is like this Puranjana. And Narada is saying that it is not correct. Puranjana is not right. He should not have left his wife and gone like that into this forest of sense gratification with his bow and arrow and with his arrows, right? We saw that. So therefore here he's saying, let's go to the next one. Anyata karma kurvano manarudho nibhadyate gunapravaha patito nashtapragno vrajatyataha. Otherwise, a person who acts whimsically falls down due to false prestige. Thus, he becomes involved in the laws of nature, which are composed of the three qualities: goodness, passion, and ignorance. In this way, a living entity becomes devoid of his real intelligence and becomes perpetually lost in the cycle of birth and death. Thus, he goes up and down from a microbe in the stool to a high position in the Brahmaloka planet. So, simply put, one may ask, why should I follow this Vedic religion? Why should I follow this Vedic religion? Because this Vedic religion is regulating us and protecting us from the laws of nature. These laws of material nature are very strict. And if we give up our real intelligence, and if we do not take to Krishna consciousness, which is the eternal religion, so what happens is, if we do not use our real intelligence, we have to be ready to become perpetually lost in the cycle of birth and death. So what is the problem? There are some people who ask, what is the problem? I'm okay to take many births. The problem is this: we may have to go down or up. Urdhvam gachanti sattvastha, madhye tishtati rajacha, jaganya gunavrittistha, adho gachanti tamasa. We may have to go to the lowest species of life, that is to become a worm in the stool. Or the highest position is Brahmaloka planet. Something like that. So, but doesn't matter whether you are going to the lowest position or highest position. Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. Whether you go to the highest planet or the lowest planet, it is still the material world. So, these so called religious activities are not enough for us. So, let us see this. So, it is said Anyatha Karma. In this verse, it is said as Anyatha Karma. So, Anyatha Karma Kurvano Manarudo Nibadyati. That was the verse that was saying. Anyatha Karma means whimsical action. Whimsical action. Ignoring Shastra. Bhagavad Gita Krishna is saying, Yat Shastram Vritti Mutsrijya Vartante Kamakarataha Nasasanti Mavapnoti Nasiddhim Paramam Gatim. That means, if you whimsically act without consulting Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, what would happen is there would be na shantim apnoti, na sukham avapnoti. There would be no peace of mind, na sukham. There will be no happiness, na siddhim. There will be no perfection of life, and param gating. There is no chance of going back to God. Therefore, we have to take this religious principles, whatever activities that we are doing, we should always consult the Shastra. We should not neglect the Vedic rules and religions. So the rules and regulations which are given in the Vedas are called as Shastra Vidhi. So yes, Shastra Vidhi Mutsrijya. He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination. So anybody who is deliberately transgressing these rules of the Shastras is going to be simply get entangled more and more and more and more in the material nature. See, we are in a quagmire. You can just think we are in a quicksand. So what happens when you go inside a quagmire or inside a quicksand is we are actually going deeper and deeper. Okay, now when you're going deeper and deeper, there's some things which you should do which you should not be doing. Okay, there's some things which you should be doing. Like maybe you should find out how you can come out, right, by holding the things which can bring you out. There's something which you should not be doing. I mean, trying to struggle or trying to go down deeper, doing something crazy. That will take us deeper into this. So, if we neglect scriptures, it's almost like going deeper into this and actually going towards death. So, foolish people, actually, they don't understand. I mean, ignorant people, they don't understand the soul is actually passing through this 8,400,000 species of life. And by the process of evolution, after many lifetimes, we get the chance as a human form of life. After getting the human form of life, what is it that we are doing? So we are all parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now that we have got the chance as a human being, we have got this intelligence to discriminate what is right and what is wrong. We have such a wonderful instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which are all beneficial for us. And if we completely ignore these instructions, then who can help us? Who can help us? So Lord actually has given us this Vedic instructions in the form of Vyasadeva has given us these instructions. Why? It is said, Krishna bhuli se jiva anadi bahir mukha ateva maya tare deya samsara dukkha. What has happened is, it is given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 2117, that every living entity has forgotten Krishna. And the living entity has become materialistic since time immemorial. And because of this Bahirmukha attitude, materialistic attitude, we have forgotten Krishna, who is a super soul within the heart. So therefore, what has happened? Ateva Maya Tare Deya Samsara Dukkha. As long as we forget Krishna, this material nature will continuously give us different kinds of miseries. So it is nothing but continuous miseries. If we give up the wonderful instructions of the Supreme Lord and take up material sense gratification whimsically, it is as good as giving up a pot of nectar for a pot of poison. See, a pot of poison can be decorated very nicely in a very nice package or in a very nice pot. It can be given in a golden pot also, but yet it is still the poison. So this is a very important point, because the modern people, they can package everything. That's their talent. They can package it in such sweet words and nice words, so carefully, so intelligently, so nicely, that it appears as if, wow, this is so good. And as if the eternal Vedic instruction, it may sound like boring, like very old, or which is outdated, or something which is not useful at all. Or in some cases, it may sound to us like discriminatory and actually bad also. But what we have to understand is this, that even if somebody serves, poisonous cake, the cake may look so beautiful, but it is poisonous. So this is something that we have to understand. So external decoration is not enough. So here the word has been given as manarudha. Manarudha means people are using their mental platform. So in the mental platform, we try to speculate. This is just something given by human beings. No, Vedic literature is given by Krishna himself. Vedas are given by Krishna, and this Krishna consciousness dharma, Bhagavad dharma, is given by Krishna himself. But these mental speculators who are excellent in manufacturing mental speculation, they try to spread this kind of a thing. These are like the non-devotees who don't care for the instructions given by the Lord, and they try to spread their ideas and actually make everybody else fall down in the same path, right? So that is why it is said, Harava Bhaktasya Kuto Mahat Guna. It is said that a non-devotee has got no good qualification at all, because he is acting on the mental platform. So what is very important is, there's a very nice song which says, Miche Mayara Vashe, Yache Bheshe, Kacha Habudubu Bhai. Bhakti Vinod Thakur is writing, saying, why are you suffering, my dear brother? Why are you sometimes getting drowned in the waves of ocean, sometimes coming to the surface? Habu dubu. Habu dubu means you get inside the water for some time, come out of some time, go inside some time, come out of some. Why are you doing this, my dear brother? Jiva Krishna Dasa, ye Vishwasa, Karleta Ara Dukkhanai. My dear brother, please therefore accept that you are the servant of Krishna, and accept this knowledge which is given in Bhagavad Gita as it is. Then you will become freed from all miseries. This is such a sweet instruction given by the Acharya. So therefore, we should discriminate. There's a very nice verse which is given by Prahlad Maharaj, which says, Matirna Krishne Parata Shvatova Mito Vipadyeta Gruha Vratanam Adanta Gobir Vishatam Tamishram Puna Punachar Charvananam. Matirna Krishne Paratasvatova. Matirna Krishne Paratasvatova means, if we do not have our mati on Krishna, if we don't use our intelligence in Krishna, what would happen is the Grihavratanam, Mitobi Padyeta Grihavratanam, Adanta Gobir Vishatam Tamishram Puna Charvita Charvatanam. The so-called householders who are not, inclined towards Krishna, and they are very much engaged in material enjoyment. They don't know anything except material enjoyment. They're simply chewing whatever is already chewed. So just like if there's something already that has been chewed, all the rasa or the essence or the taste out of it is already gone. Just like in the sugarcane juice, when they're doing it, so they do it multiple times and then they throw that. But if you pick up that molasses or that waste, and if you try to chew it, you don't get any sugarcane juice out of it. But materialistic people are trying to get juice out of something which doesn't have the juice at all, and they're giving up something which is very juicy. Bhagavatam Rasamalayam, it is full of the mellows, full of juice, and Krishna Nama is so full of all these rasas. Giving up this original rasa, we are taking some abominable rasa of the material world, out of which the biggest rasa is the sex life. So this is something very unfortunate. This happens when Matir na Krishna. If our mind is not there in Krishna, this is what will happen. Let's go to the next verse. Text 9. Tatra nirbhinna gatranam chitravajai shilimukhai viplavo bhut dukkhitanam dussaha karunatmanam. King Puranjana was hunting in this way. Many animals within the forest lost their lives. With great pain, they are being pierced by sharp arrowheads. Upon seeing this devastating, ghastly activities performed by the king, all the people who were merciful by nature became very unhappy. Such merciful people could not tolerate seeing all this killing. You see, it is given here that hunting is a very ghastly activity, is it not? So when this kind of hunting is happening, right, there's so many animals which will be pierced with very sharp arrows, and then they have to struggle, and they'll be bleeding, and then they have to die in such a way. So anybody who is very compassionate, the devotees, they feel very much aggrieved. Those people who are merciful, they feel bad about it, right? This kind of hunting is not nice. But see, this is an allegorical story. Here we are talking about hunting animals, and the devotees are feeling bad, right? Those people who are very compassionate are feeling bad and thinking, "Arey, this should not have happened," something like that. So, what is the hunting of our modern hunting? What is modern in our modern civilization? What is the kind of hunting that's happening? So, what is happening in this so-called modern civilization, in the name of civilization, is that people are addicted to women, intoxication, clubs, slaughterhouses, and they're maintaining these kind of sinful activities, right? So now, even Prabhupada is writing in his purport that rascal swamis and yogis are encouraging foolish people to eat flesh and kill animals, at the same time continue their so-called meditation and mystical practices. All these affairs are ghastly, and a compassionate person, namely a devotee of the Lord, becomes very unhappy to see such a sight. This is all I'm reading from purport. The hunting process is also carried out in a different way. Hunting women, drinking different types of liquor, becoming intoxicated, killing animals, and enjoying sex all serve the basis of modern civilizations. And Vaishnavas are very unhappy to see such a situation in the world, and therefore they are very busy spreading this Krishna consciousness movement. Very nicely written, so beautiful. Prabhupada is saying, why are the devotees working so hard to spread Krishna conscious movement? It is to stop these people, the people like to stop all these Puranjanas from killing the animals. The kind of killing that they are doing is they are doing so many illicit activities like meat eating, liquor, illicit relationships, and indiscriminate killings. All of this has to be stopped. So any person who has little bit of mercy understands this, whatever is being given told here, and immediately takes up Krishna consciousness. It's just a little bit of intelligence. We have to think soberly, and it is so clear what we are supposed to be doing, right? So let's go to the next verse. Sashan Varahan Mahishan Gavayan Rurusha Shalyakan Medyan Anyamscha Vividhan Vinignan Shramam Adhyagat. In this way, the king Puranjana killed many animals, including rabbits, boars, buffaloes, bison, black deer, porcupines, and other game animals. After killing and killing and killing, the king became very tired. Let's see this. So this is the verse number 10. Yeah. You see, a person who is in the mode of ignorance, he commits a lot of sinful activities. Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance causes sinful activities. Ignorance causes us to get into an eternal suffering. Ignorance is so bad. Okay, I mean, anybody who is, it can be one ignorant act, and that person will have to spend rest of his life in jail. Is it not? One ignorant act, or 5 minutes of ignorance, half an hour of ignorance is enough to get us into trouble and get us into, the prison for lifetime. Similarly, it's not an acceptable argument to say that I am ignorant, I don't know, I want to be ignorant, I don't want to know all of this. It's so happy to be ignorant. In ignorance, we will commit sinful activities, and these sinful activities will come back to us. These are being accounted by the laws of material nature, and they'll continuously cause us suffering. We are already suffering, and these suffering will just keep continuing life after life. So intelligent people should understand this, that the law of natures are very strict, and ignorance is not an excuse. For example, a child goes to the fire and touches the fire and says, "Oh, I don't know, I'm ignorant person." But child will get burnt by the fire. Similarly, you can't say, I'm like a child, I'm so childish, I want to be like childish, I don't want to be very intelligent, I'll go and touch the fire. Fire will not see. Similarly, the laws of material nature, they're very strict. Doesn't matter whether it's a child or adult. If you touch the fire, it's going to burn. So here, the king has become tired after killing so many animals. So similarly, what happens is a man becomes very tired of these religious activities, right? The pious activities, the so-called pious activities, and the sinful activities. These are the two tires, right? The two wheels of his chariot. After doing all of this, he became very tired. Okay, running after doing so many sense gratificatory activities, some activities in the name of religion, some activities in the name of economic development, some activities in the name of sense gratification. Very tired. And then finally, this person tries to become a religious person. And then the man comes in contact with a saintly person. See how nicely allegory is going to continue. Now the person is resting. After doing a lot of sinful activities, a person thinks, I have done so many sinful activities in my life. Now let me stop it. And then when he comes in contact with a sadhu, he feels, okay, now is the time for me. Let me change myself. I think I should stop this. Something like that. So this is the beginning of the religious life. So religious life means to first of all give up the 4 principles of prohibited activities. First give up these 4 principles, regulative principles of Krishna consciousness. Religion, good religious activity begins when we first give up meat eating and intoxication, gambling, all of this illicit sex life. If we give it up, then our religious life begins. So, but there are some kind of so-called religious people who are indulging in this kind of principles and prohibited activities, and they're openly promoting them, and they're saying it's okay, that's there's nothing, there's no connection with food with spirituality. You see, there's no connection with illicit sex with spirituality. Actually, sex is spiritual. This is the kind of people they are there. They're pseudo religionists, and they're very, very sinful people. So we should be very careful, and we should avoid the association of these kind of false gurus like Putana. Putana has come to give milk to Krishna. It appears as if, wow, Putana is so nice, she is giving milk to Krishna, but she is giving poisonous milk to Krishna. Similarly, these are the false gurus who are going to just give poison to their disciples and kill them. So therefore we should avoid such people. So the point is, even if a sinful person, he receives knowledge from the spiritual master, by the grace of his spiritual master, by Guru's mercy and by repentance, he can become religious, he can enter into this. So actually this is the advantage of Krishna consciousness movement. Krishna consciousness movement is open for all, provided those who are coming to this movement must first of all give up their irreligious activities, and they should repent for what they have done, and then they can do all these Krishna conscious activities, and they become eligible even to go back to Godhead even in this lifetime. They might have committed some mistakes in the past, but now it's a time for repentance. Now it is a time for intelligence. Now it is a time for discrimination, to discriminate what's right, what's wrong, and stop immediately the wrong activities, sinful activities. And now is the time to surrender to Krishna, surrender to the saintly person, surrender to the sadhu, surrender to the guru. And it is said, um, it says, Krishnara samsara kari chadi anachar. In the Nadia Godruma song, it says, Krishnara samsara kari chadi anachar. That means now you do your samsara, you do your family life, but please leave anachara. Please leave the irreligious activities. Then make Krishna as the center of your life. Then there's a hope that you can go back to God. But provided the point is chadi anachar. Stop this anachara. Stop this prohibited activities. Let's go to the next one. Text number 11. Tata kshutrut parishranto nivritto grihameviyan kritasnano jitahara samvivesho gataklamaha. After this, the king became very much fatigued, hungry and thirsty, returned to his royal palace. After returning, he took a bath and had an appropriate dinner. Then he took the rest and thus became freed from all restlessness. So what has happened so far is King Puranjana, he set out for hunting. He had his good wife at home. He did not even inform her, and because he was impelled by passion, he took out his chariot and he went and killed so many animals in the forest of sense enjoyment. And now he felt very tired. He came back home now, and then he's very fatigued. He's feeling very hungry, very thirsty. Right now he is taking a bath and he ate some nice dinner. Now he's feeling a little bit relaxed. Right. So what is the allegory for this? So what is the meaning of this? Let us try to understand. So it is the symbolic king, the Puranjana coming back home tired is a symbol of conscience awakening. That so there's a moment in everybody's life where we awaken, we get up from deep sleep, and then we say, yeah, this is a time for me to take repentance. It's a time for me to stop this and take a bath. What is this bath? This bath is purification by the Guru and Shastra. When a devotee takes initiation from a bona fide spiritual master, it is said that all the sinful activities are taken away by the spiritual master. Spiritual master is so merciful. He is ready to take all our sinful activities performed not only in this life, but in all the lives before also. He is ready to take off everything upon himself. That is the mercy of the spiritual master. So when we go and officially take this initiation under a bona fide spiritual master, when we approach purification by the means of Guru and Shastra, we become purified. Right? So what happens is, the person is like so tired, all the day we are running, where is the money, running here and there. But at the end of the week, we come home and then we relax, we retire from those activities and take rest. Right? Similarly here also, after doing all the different kinds of wrong activities, sinful activities, he has come and taken a bath, which is equivalent of a purification by Guru and Shastra, and he has eaten proper food. What is this proper food? He has taken nice dinner, Uchita Ahara. Uchita Ahara means appropriate food. Satvika Ahara. Bhagavad Gita 17.8 is saying what is Satvika Ahara, what is Rajasika Ahara, what is Tamasika Ahara. So any food which is devoid of this flesh and which doesn't have onion and garlic, which is offered to Krishna, is called Satvika. It is Shuddha Sattva. It is actually Prasadam. So when you have this refreshing Prasadam, our mind also becomes very peaceful and very happy. So like that, King Puranjana is coming out of this sinful life and is coming. So it also actually means there's another meaning for it, that what is the problem with not having Satvik Ahar? What if I have Rajasik Ahar, Tamasik Ahar, like meat or liquor? What happens is it blocks spiritual realization. See, already our mind is full of illusion, and it is so difficult to understand these truths, it becomes further difficult. Actually, these arguments are very simple, right? To not to cause harm to a living entity is such a basic argument even a child can understand. But our hearts have become so merciless. Why? Because of having such kind of tamasic ahar, food in passion and ignorance. This blocks our basic sense of thinking, and it actually blocks the spiritual realization also. Therefore, in the Vedas, it is said, after having worked so hard in the Grihastha, one must take to Vanaprastha, that is retirement, to stop from the material engagement and then start thinking about how to go back to home, back to garden. Right? But in our corrupted society, what happens is after retirement, the sense gratification continues. In fact, it doubles. So the people's argument is, we did not get time to enjoy properly, so let me enjoy now. So this is actually wrong kind of thought process. It should be the opposite. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Atmanam arhayam chakre dhupalepe srag adibihi sadvalankrita sarvango mahishamada demanaha. After this, King Puranjana decorated his body with suitable ornaments. He also smeared scented sandalwood pulp all over his body and put on the flower garlands. In this way, he became completely refreshed, and thus he began to search out for his queen. Let us see this. This is interesting. So, what is the meaning of this? That Puranjana has now taken a bath, has eaten food, is become refreshed. Now he smeared some scented pulp, sandalwood pulp all over his body, and put some flower garlands, and is feeling very refreshed, and is now looking for the queen. Here it is said, just see this. When a man comes in good consciousness and accepts a saintly person as a spiritual master, he hears many Vedic instructions in the form of philosophy, stories, narrations, and great devotees, and transactions between God and devotees. In this way, a man becomes refreshed in mind, exactly like a person who smears sandalwood pulp all over his body and decorates himself with ornaments. These decorations may be compared to the knowledge of religion and the self. Through such knowledge, one becomes detached from a materialistic way of life and engages himself in always hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic literatures. The word sadvalankrita used indicates that one must be absorbed in knowledge gathered from the instructions of saintly persons. See, the thing is, we should be absorbed in gathering knowledge which are the instructions of the saintly persons. And here it is said, king is now searching for his better half queen, who is decorated with knowledge and instructions. So what is the meaning of this? One who is decorated with knowledge and instructions from saintly person should search out for his original consciousness, Krishna consciousness. So he's looking out for his queen, who is the better half. He stopped hunting. Now he's taken some rest. Now he's taken bath, nice food, smeared all this pulp, sandalwood pulp, wearing a garland and looking at his better half means looking for Krishna consciousness. So one cannot return to Krishna consciousness unless favored by the instructions of a saintly person. Therefore, Narottam Das Thakur sings, Sadhu Shastra Guru Vakya Chittete Kareho Aikya. If we want to become saintly person, if we want to get our original consciousness, we must associate with a Sadhu, Shastra and Guru. This is the process. Right? Let's go forward to the last verse for the day. Trupto Hrushtas Sudruptascha Kandarpa Krishta Manasaha Navyachasta Vararoham Grihinim Gruhamedhinim. After taking his dinner and having his thirst and hunger satisfied, King Puranjana felt the same joy within heart. Instead of being elevated to a higher consciousness, he became captivated by Cupid and was moved by desire to find his wife, who kept him satisfied in his household life. See what's happening. This fellow went for hunting. He's killed so many animals during the day. Came back now. Now he is affected by the Cupid, by the lust, and now he's looking out for his wife. Okay. Now let us see what is the parallel for this. Okay. So there's a parallel analogy that's going on, right? So let's try to understand. So after satisfaction, king fell into Cupid's attraction. This is a warning for new devotees, right? So when we come to Krishna consciousness, we become very relaxed. we become very happy. Just like Puranjana became, he took nice food, nice bath, he became happy. But now he's affected by Cupid. So we should be very careful. The new devotees, we are all new devotees. We have come to Krishna consciousness newly. So we have to be very careful because there are some warnings which are given by Rupa Goswami in the Upadeshamrita. Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha janasangascha laulyamcha shadbir bhaktir vinashyati. There are 6 things which bring us down of bhakti. Atyahar means overeating. See, overeating is not good. So we should not be eating more than what is necessary. First of all, we should eat sattvic ahara, which is made up of wheat, rice, vegetables, fruits like that. Simple food we should eat, like dal, chapati, vegetables like this. So actually what happens is sometimes it is found that an initiated person in the name of prasada eats very luxurious food stuff, right? So this is also dangerous. Prabhupada is saying very clearly here, okay? Let me just show you this. It's very, very nice and very instructive for all of us that, we should be very careful about this. So here, let us see this thing. The Atyahara Prayasascha. The fall down of the neophyte devotee from the path of Krishna consciousness starts like this. A neophyte devotee should not eat more or collect more money, because eating too much or collecting too much is called atyahara. It's called endeavoring too much. And specifically, it should be faithful for the rules and regulations and be fixed in the regulative principles. And we should not be mixing with undesirable persons. And one should not become tainted with lust and greed and fall down from the path of the devotional service. So it's a very instructive thing, that how we should be very careful. Just see this interesting point. Sometimes it is found that an initiated person in the name of prasada eats very luxurious food stuff. And due to his past sinful life, he becomes attracted by Cupid and eats good food voraciously. So it is clearly visible that when a neophyte in Krishna consciousness eats too much, he falls down. Instead of being elevated to pure Krishna consciousness, he becomes attached to Cupid. So the so-called brahmachari becomes agitated by women, and the vanaprastha may again become captivated into having sex with his wife and may begin to search out another wife. Due to some sentiment, he may give up his own wife and come into association of devotees and spiritual master, but due to the past sinful life, he cannot stay. Instead of he being elevated to Krishna consciousness, he falls down being attracted by Cupid and takes another wife for sex enjoyment. The fall of neophyte devotee from the path of Krishna consciousness down to material life is described here. So, very important devotees. We'll stop with this and we'll have a quick reflection. Tyaktva swadharmam charanam bhujam harer bhajanna pakvo tapatetyato yadi yatra kvava vadramabhudamushyakim kuvarta apto abhajatam swadharmataha. Although a neophyte devotee may fall down from the path of Krishna consciousness due to his immaturity, his service to Krishna never goes in vain. However, a person who remains steadfast in his family duty or so-called social or family obligation but does not take to Krishna consciousness receives no profit. One who comes to Krishna consciousness must be very careful and refrain from prohibited activities as defined by Rupa Goswami in Upadeshamrita. So this is like, we see that even in the society of Krishna consciousness, there is fall downs that happen. Okay, we see, okay, this Swamiji fell down, that person fell down, this person fell down. Instead of getting into this kind of rubbish talk that this devotee fell down, that devotee fell down, we should take lessons from that. Here Prabhupada is saying clearly, a neophyte devotee can always fall down, right? There are always chances of a neophyte devotee to fall down, especially when he is having voraciously, he is eating in the name of prasada, he is eating like anything. So naturally next he will be attracted by the Cupid and he will feel like having a wife. So that's what would have happened. So but we should not get into the mode of criticism and nitpick people and start to do some kind of offenses. This is very offensive attitude, okay? But what we should be in fact doing is we should take instructions, we should take it as a lesson. Okay, oh, if that person who has done service for so many years can fall down, what about me? I am nothing, I can fall down, so let me be very careful. This should be what we should be thinking about. So, but another important point is, even though a person who is in Krishna consciousness fall downs, it is not a fall down at all, because here it is given, त्यक्त्वा स्वधर्मं चरणाम्बुजं हरे भजन्न पक्वो अथ पतेत यतो ततो यदि. Even if a person in Krishna consciousness fall down, there is no problem. Krishna is saying, Bhagavatam, it's okay, because he'll be given another chance. You don't worry about him. That's it. So if, for example, Jadabharata, by mistake, he got a little bit attracted towards a pet, he'll get another chance, no worries. Like that, there are so many examples, right? Somehow temporary fall down may happen for a neophyte devotee, but still he is very safe, because he is under the protection of Krishna. He is under the, so next lifetime he will be taken care, right? So just like we have the story of Bilva Mangala Thakura. Bilva Mangala Thakura, he had a spiritual master in the past life, and somehow due to worldly mindedness in his past life, he was born as Bilva Mangala, he was born as one Brahmana, and he was addicted to a prostitute called Chintamani. He was so much addicted to prostitution. So Chintamani was none other than his spiritual master. So his spiritual master came as a a prostitute, and gave him instructions and took him back to God, and took him back to the path of Krishna consciousness. So it is a spiritual master will definitely take care. Of course, that doesn't give us. It doesn't mean that we can be careless in spiritual life. All I'm trying to say is, it is much safer to be in Krishna consciousness, and even some fall downs in Krishna consciousness is okay, than to not to be in Krishna consciousness and fall down, because falling down out of Krishna consciousness means really falling down into something else. I mean, it's like just going into some, you can imagine 8,400,000 species, going to the lowest species and having to wait for evolution for again getting the human birth. That's a million times more worse. Okay, but what we should be doing, we should be carefully doing Krishna consciousness and take this opportunity. Guru gives the opportunity to cleanse ourselves. Take the opportunity nicely and not fall down again. We should try that, and then so that we can go back to God. Okay, Hare Krishna. So that pranams, devotees. Sorry, I took a little bit of extra time. I would like to hear from you. Like, what are your reflections? What did you hear today? How was it for you? It was, I'm sure it was very powerful. So I had to say this. Hare Krishna. Yes, devotees. Anybody wants to add something, or you want to add your reflections? I'd like to hear your reflections, devotees.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you for this wonderful session. Definitely should be awakening, and our consciousness should be, sendal pulp paste applied, so that our consciousness awake to this Krishna movement, Prabhu. And it's really a wonderful session. Thank you very much, Prabhu. At least awake from our deep sleep and awakening from that deep sleep, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. That are pranams. Hare Krishna, Kalyani Mataji. Want to say something?
How I wish, Prabhuji, that all this is ingrained into us right from the age of 5, so that we don't. Has become a norm. This kind of lifestyle, I'm seeing it all around me, and probably I too went through this summer part of it, like working, without realization that I need to do some Krishna consciousness. So I really wish I know what my wish is. And thank you so much, Prabhuji. It has taught me a lot. There's still a lot to learn, and thank you, Prabhuji, for this wonderful session.
Hare Krishna.
I don't know how to start, in what way I can contribute to get, in some way I want to do something to
Definitely.
promote this kind of education amongst us.
Definitely, Mataji. Yeah, you can always contribute. You can help devotees to become more Krishna conscious. You can support people who are already, doing this mission. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna. Okay, devotees, we'll stop here. I'll take leave. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyavcha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavanta ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.